and waiting to see if it actually starts on the YouTube end. Okay.
Please don't dare knock over my computer.
All right, we are live. Welcome to the November Stitch and Bitch live show. Those of us in the US are slowly emerging from our post-Thanksgiving comas. We may be a little bit brain dead today.
Well,
I'm sure we'll come up with something to talk about. So to get started, we should introduce ourselves. I'll go first because we're on my channel. You probably know who I am because you're on my channel. But my name is Rachel. My channel is Colonati, and I read a lot of science fiction and fantasy and nonfiction, and I haven't been making a lot of videos in November, even though I've been reading about one book per day. We'll call it the holiday slowdown or something. So, Bree, do you want to go next?
Sure. I'm Bree. My channel is Bree Reads Books. I've been on a bit of a slump this year. COVID has got me hard. But I mostly read science fiction and fantasy and also some nonfiction. And yeah, that's what's going on with me.
Diana?
Hi, I'm Diana. I'm bookish die pretty much everywhere, and I'm also in a bit of a video making slump because of COVID type shenanigans, and I mostly read science fiction, fantasy, and nonfiction about diseases.
That's fun for this year.
oh yeah.
It's interesting to read about pandemics, but not real great to live through one.
Yeah.
Feels a little personal.
Yeah, it's like, oh God, like reading something about the Spanish flu, it's like, oh God, all of this has happened before. All of this will happen again.
I mean, I haven't been able to read about it, but I've watched all of the Netflix documentaries.
It's very time is a flat circle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Has anybody?
Rhea?
Oh yeah.
You introduce yourself.
Oh yeah. I was supposed to. Yes, I am Rhea from the channel The Bookfinch. I do stuff and talk about books and comics. And currently I'm on a bit of a Twitter break. So that's why you may not have heard about my vocalizing into the void about various political issues like I normally do. But anyway. Also I have a cat. Right there.
Oh.
Is it Hedda? The little grumpy lady.
Yes, the boys are currently sunbathing under my reading lamp in the living room.
Leia is currently outside the room I'm in because she did not get in before I closed the door, and Luke is perched on the windowsill gazing out at the birds.
Soren and Wally are in the living room, jealously watching partner play with a new board game that like they would desperately love to play with the pieces of.
That's the cat dream. Like include me,
Love me forever. Side note, if anybody has time later today, they should watch the Caitlin Doherty, the Ask a Mortician short on when the plague came to San Francisco.
Oh yeah.
In case you want to feel a little seen by the early 1900s.
I watched that and it was great.
The bubonic plague that they had.
Yeah. It was great. I mean, it was not great for San Francisco at the time, obviously, but the video itself was great.
Wait, is this about the outbreak of bubonic plague that they had?
Yes.
There's actually a really great book about that that I read a couple of years ago. Let me see if I can find what the title is without being very sad at how far behind my Goodreads goal is. I've been in a weird reading slump. I'm behind on my Goodreads goal, and I've been avoiding the website because it just depresses me.
This is why I intentionally always put my Goodreads goal at the lower end so that I have completed it by July, and then I can feel superior to myself. Oh no, I spilled.
I didn't update it when like the COVID anxiety hit, and I should have, because now I like feel bad. But realistically, right, like with all of what's going on, like it's normal to adjust your reading goals. I probably could do that and feel better.
Well, so for me, like for a while I was ahead of it, but just fall hit and like the months of being alone just kind of like mentally crushed me.
Oh yeah.
And I've just been like for a while I was just playing a lot of video games.
Also, like not only has like the being isolated crushed me, but also the fact that I've literally spent 24/7 hours all the time with my partner. So it's like you can love someone very much, and at some point they will annoy the shit out of you, and you just want to like stay in a separate room and just scream, "Go away!" But at the same time, you also want to hug them like a koala and say, "Don't go away anywhere." So it's a weird feeling.
Oh, it's a very, I relate very hard. For the 2 weeks before the election night, we quarantined so that my friends could come over. Hey, Luke. And when my friend got over, I realized it was like the first person who wasn't my partner who I had hugged in months. And I was like, I just like held on for like what would normally be like probably inappropriately long, and like maybe a little cried. It was great. I felt so good.
Yeah, it's so this year. Like, remember back in like, was it April or March when we were like, yeah, let's not talk about the pandemic at all, because like let's give people a safe space, and like this idea that maybe it will be temporary, and like and then it just went on, and now it's like, well, you have to address it because it's like
this is life now.
Yeah.
I do have on my reading list a book called The Ghost Map, which is about
that one's really
contact tracing. Yeah, contact tracing in a cholera outbreak in London.
Yeah, that one's really good. So the book that I was talking about the plague outbreak in San Francisco is called The Barbary Plague, The Black Death in Victorian San Francisco by Marilyn Chase.
Okay.
Leah, you asked to be in here.
In and out, in and out.
It's hard because, like, you know, great grandma time. But also, why is this door closed?
Yeah. That is the wail of every single cat owner, though.
Well, normally, like, doors are open to them, so they, like, very rarely have to deal with closed doors, except for, like, closet doors, which they keep trying to open because how dare the closets be closed to them?
I mean, yesterday, I was searching for Hedda all over the place. Like, I couldn't find her. And I was like, where could she have gone? And I was yelling at her, like, to come out. Then I went to the laundry room, and my pile of shame, the pile of clean laundry that I need to put away, that has been sitting there for like a month or two now, just waiting for me to get off my ass. She was there. She had somehow managed to climb on top of it and somehow like dig her way under the pile like a mole. So she was like at the center of it, and all I could see was like two eyes underneath a Pokemon sweater. And I was like, what are you doing? How did you even get there? The door was closed. Apparently partner went and got something from there, and she used that window of opportunity to like sneak in, because normally we keep the door closed. It was like, well, okay.
Do we want to talk about what we're all currently working on now?
Sure.
Let's go in the opposite order from last time. So Ray, you want to go first?
Sure. I'm actually drawing today because I did this little schematic about a wizard staff that I'm going to make, and now I'm doing some watercolor studies of geodes to try to understand how geodes work so that I can then 3D model a geode for 3D printing so that I can have a nice like LED light up crystal on top of my wizard staff.
Oh, that's
like,
cool.
Like
That would be really cool.
This whole thing started from my, like, I was watching Kamui cosplay videos and she made the Lich King Warhammer that, like, when she moves it like this, it makes a sound effect and lights up. And I was like, I want to do that, but with a wizard staff. And then I was thinking, if we get to Worldcon next year, I want to have a costume, and if we don't get to Worldcon, at least I can have a nice cosplay showcase video about it.
Yeah.
But hopefully, I wish that if we can make it happen, if the whole vaccination thing and stuff happens, and it becomes plausible, then at least I will have a project to look forward to and kind of keep me motivated and, like, you know, stuff.
Mhm.
And if it doesn't happen, I will still have something out of it. I don't know. I just want to make
It's win-win. No matter what, you have something cool to look forward to.
Yeah,
Really?
I want the wizard stuff.
I really hope DC Worldcon happens because I want to drag you guys around the zoo and like all my favorite places in DC.
This
Why
is
do you-
also why I want DC to happen, because a bunch of people I will probably meet there like have lived in DC, and I'm like, show me to all the places.
I mean, seriously.
I love DC so much.
Like, I will say, if DC Worldcon happens, like, top priority is getting good Ethiopian food because I've missed Ethiopian food, and there's so many good places in the DC area.
I mean, honestly, if DC somehow happens, I will just, like, I know it's gross, but I will probably just, like, hug and kiss everyone that I meet, even if it's very uncharacteristic of me, and then Thomas will be like, whoa, that's character development.
I would be just so happy.
Honestly, whenever we all see each other in person again, I will probably just cry.
Yeah.
Really emotional.
I mean, we will just need to lock ourselves into a hotel room just to have a quiet cry before we venture outside.
Yeah.
It'll be worth it.
Yeah.
Sai, you want to show off your works?
Sure. Hold on. So I'm making the flax pullover. I'm using the tweed yarn I got from Knit Picks. And this is actually kind of my second attempt because I was doing the garter stitch panel wrong. I misread it. So I thought like that whole like sleeve area was garter stitch. So I had to pretty much rip it out all the way to the collar and restart it. And for some reason I keep accidentally slipping stitches, so I'm now dropping stitches, so I'm redoing them.
You have a
That's
crochet
always the
hook?
worst
That's
part.
the easiest way to pick up dropped stitches is with a crochet hook.
Yeah. I mean,
It's always the worst part when you have to like undo something.
Yeah, it was. So my cousin and my grandma and I were watching the Taylor Swift concert on Disney Plus, the new one.
Yeah.
And it's like Taylor Swift is, talking about all her inspirations and like the friendship breakup that inspired my Tears Ricochet. I'm like internally sobbing while ripping out all this knitting that I've done.
I mean, I feel like my Tears Ricochet is the most underrated song from that album. It's like my favorite thing. That and was Exile the one with Bon Iver?
Yeah, that's a good one.
Those two. Like, I just feel like I'm the sort of sad masochist type of person who just wants all of the angsty songs.
Well, and
Yep.
folklore just like feeds all of those feels
Yeah.
for me. It's like,
Yeah.
Well, and I think too, my Tears Ricochet, like you can tell Taylor Swift like has like went through a really bad friend breakup because
Oh,
like
yeah.
encapsulates all that feelings that normally like you don't know how to express because like we never like society never talks about like how devastating friend breakups are.
I mean, I felt that song. I felt that song to my core. I mean, I know I don't talk about it, and I mean, I went through a very significant friend breakup like last Christmas. So this time of year, it aches. It aches
Yeah.
so much.
Granted, if you want to just like change those angst feelings into a little bit of like fuck everything, excuse my language, you could then turn on Holiday House because I feel like I want to just take on the world every time I listen to that one.
I mean, normally during that time, I just listen to a bunch of synthwave.
Fair.
Because that doesn't have, because I'm one of those people, like if there's lyrics, I can't actually do anything. I have to stop everything I'm doing and I just soak in the lyrics like a sponge. So if
Sure.
I want to like actually what's the word, do something with my aggression and pent up feelings of rage, then I need to have something that doesn't have lyrics, because then I won't have the urge to stop and listen. Because I have a very one track mind. I can't do two things at once, except when I can. It's weird, okay? It's weird.
This is actually why I don't listen to a lot of music whenever I'm doing anything, especially if it has lyrics or if it's like, I don't know how to describe music, but very like up and down and loud or whatever, because my synesthesia is basically hearing things and then seeing it.
Yeah.
So it's super distracting, and lyrics set it off quite a bit as well. So
I mean, it's so weird because I have to have something to do with my hands if I'm listening to an audiobook, for example.
yeah.
So if I want to retain anything from an audiobook, I need to have like, I need to draw or knit or do something that doesn't really require too much thinking,
Yeah.
but like gives my hands the sort of activeness that, you know, my mind doesn't start to wander. But if I'm listening to music and it has like lyrics and like, you know, background music and various other things going on for it, then I just like I just can't. Or if I'm watching a movie, I need to concentrate on the movie because there's like too many variables.
So I am working on the second of a pair of socks.
Ooh.
And you can't, I don't know if you can see very well here.
It looks like it has color work at the top.
It has color work at the top and these little fun little bobble stitch
Oh, fun.
kind of little dudes. And it's very soft. And I'm trying to combat, I've had this one done for a hot minute here, but have been battling second sock syndrome, which is okay. I'm getting through it.
I'm always curious how people knit their socks. Like, do you use DPNs or do you magic loop or?
I'm a DPN person.
What's a DPN?
Double
pointed needles. So point here, so you can slide them back and forth on the needle.
Oh yeah. I am that way as well.
I learned how to knit socks and how to knit in the round on DPNs, but I had to switch to magic loop. I'm actually not that much of a fan of magic looping, but I do it a lot, especially for like sweater sleeves and stuff. So I don't have a full set of DPNs, but I have long circulars.
Yeah.
But I have such problems with laddering between my DPNs.
Oh, that's interesting because I have a big problem with laddering when I use magic loop.
Bree, So, could you? Sorry, you've been like kind of breaking up for me.
Oh, I was saying that I have a problem with ladders with magic loop.
Oh.
I mean, I'm still trying to learn how to use Magic Loop.
Yeah, I like kind of had to use like a variation of magic loop for this like once I switched over to the larger needles cuz they're it was because it uses a longer cable.
Mm.
I'm not sure why I thought it was a good idea to start painting red crystals and then switching to blue on the same quartz formation. They don't work that way.
Huh.
And I even have a whole page of references to look from, but I'm just like.
I am working on my Delphina sweater. I'm in the middle of a cable twist row, so it's a bit difficult for me to show it to you guys, but it looks like this.
That's so pretty.
Ah, cabling. I love cabling.
I've discovered that I can't really use cable needles. They're always too big and they get in the way. So I use a little stitch marker.
Hey, if it works, it works.
It works really well when you're just doing like 2/2 and 4/4 because I always slide the stitches back onto the needle so I can knit off of the main needle. But yeah, I was trying to use cable needles and this in my previous project, and I was like, it just gets in the way, and then my tension gets weird. I'm slowly getting better at it though.
Well, it looks really good.
I'm happy. I would love to finish it by Christmas, as I'm like, I could just see myself wearing this on Christmas morning, but time is going too quickly.
I feel like the one good thing about all this isolation is that I can finally spend Christmas just by myself and the cats, and I don't have because for the last 3 years, all of our Christmases have been spent mostly in the car, driving from one relative's place to the next. And usually we end up sitting at the dinner table when everyone else has already eaten, and then we get the leftovers because we spent the majority of the day driving there.
That kind of sucks.
Yeah, so I'm spending Christmas at home at my own pace. Great! This is what video chats are for.
Yep.
I mean, it's a little sad because I would want to see my nephew because he's 1 year old now, and I feel like I'm missing out on seeing him grow, even though my sister has tried to set up video chats and we call and stuff, but it's not the same. And every time he looks at me, he just looks like this, who is this person? He just narrows his eyes, I have no memory of this person.
Yeah, my friend had a baby 6 months before COVID and the shutdown. And the baby just every time it sees a person who is not its mom and dad is there are more people in the world.
Yeah. I went to, we went on a walk with my friend, masks on and keeping safe distance, but basically went just for a walk outdoors. And it was so weird that the last time I had seen her baby, she had just learned to walk and only just vocalized a little bit. And now she was just pointing at everything and going, "That's a car!" And "That's a dog!" And I'm like, wow, you can understand speech now. You have the capabilities of a speech.
Shannon has a good point that everything about this year is living as Piranesi.
I need to read Piranesi. It just sounds so great. It sounds like such a fun book.
It's very pretty.
Look who's here. Say hi, Luke.
Luke. Oh, now that I've seen both, I can really tell that Leia is the one getting all the cheek fluffs in.
Yeah. Luke is svelte.
Oh, I need to show this little criddle.
Aww.
She's like, I don't want to perform. I'm not a circus pony.
Just go back to sleep.
You're so cute, though. You're so cute.
Luke, you can't get under the covers there. There are books on it. He's now trying to burrow underneath my copies of Legendborn and Gideon.
The burrowing.
Well, he, like, once winter hits, I found this out last year, he, like, just burrows under blankets because his deepest goal in life is to be as cozy as possible.
Hedda does the same thing. She's very much into, like, blanket fortresses and caves when winter comes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have to be...
Soren.
Oh, go ahead.
Oh, I was saying Soren does the same thing, but has also found out that if you go under the weighted blanket, it's real nice.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I have to be careful with Luke. Like, if I'm, like, getting on a bed or, like, putting stuff on a bed, I have to, like, pat any lumps just to make sure that there's not a void underneath there.
Yeah, I have to do that same thing. Like, I can't just, like, I envy the people who can just jump on a couch or jump on a bed without any thought whatsoever. I need to always, like, do a little pat down security search before I do that, because otherwise I might be upsetting cats and then I would be clawed.
So what's everyone reading?
I am trying to finish Kindred by Octavia Butler today.
Are you enjoying it, or is enjoying the wrong word?
I think this book may be the reason why I just haven't felt like reading over the past 4 or so days. Like, I'm supposed to be finishing up my A to Z challenge this month, and I got almost everything else read, and then I started Kindred, and I'm listening to it on audiobook, so it's such an emotionally difficult book to listen to, and it's like every time I'm listening to it, I'm like, this is such a good book. It is a good story. And I'm so depressed.
I mean,
and like I get into this funk afterwards and I can't do anything.
I had to read Kindred in one sitting because once I started it, I could not put it down. But at the same time, I was constantly just like putting the book down, staring at the ceiling and going like, why? And then reading it again.
I think I would have finished it faster if I was reading it in print. I listen to audiobooks slower than I can actually read them. So I'm just spending a lot of time with it. And as Shannon just said, I've read a lot of Butler all at once. Yes, this is my third Butler book in the last 30 days. And there's a reason why I don't read these books one after another. Usually, like, Butler is not gentle on her readers.
No, not at all.
Yeah, no. She's not gentle on her readers nor her characters.
Yeah. But I'm going to finish that today. I've got 45 minutes left in the audiobook, so I'll probably finish that while I finish up my matter dying experiment this evening.
I'm so excited about all of your hand-dyed everything.
I know, they look so pretty.
So good.
What yarn are you using for what yarn type of yarn are you dyeing?
I grabbed some random fingering weight superwash wool from Dharma Trading Company.
Okay.
Which Dharma is really big on like acid dyes and natural dyeing materials. So it's a great place to go if you need supplies for any sort of dyeing of fabric and yarn and stuff. And they sell a lot of undyed materials for you. So they've got a lot of options, but it's usually yarn from other companies. So I'm going to try to switch over to Knitpicks stuff now. Because I was like, that's probably less expensive. Maybe.
Okay,
Yeah.
I have done the first diode.
Woo! Good.
It looks
I
like
like
it's in
that.
my flag colors, like just from how it's showing up on the screen.
My soul has entered. It's leaking.
Your crystals
maybe
just made
maybe
me
I
want to
can-
watch Dark Crystal Age of Resistance again.
I'm so sad Netflix canceled it though. Now I got halfway through the season and then I was like, I will take a break because I need to savor this. And then Netflix announced they're not going to continue on the series, and I'm like, no, like, well, is there a point to watch the series then if you're not gonna give me a second season? Like, thanks Netflix, thanks.
Because
Does
it's
the season have a
beautiful.
proper ending? Because I've been thinking about watching it, but if it doesn't have a proper ending,
Yeah, I need to know that as well. Does it have a proper ending? Because like, if it doesn't, I'm sad.
It has a distinct ending, but they didn't know, I think, that they weren't going to get renewed.
Ah.
So like you can tell that like there's more to the story. That being said, it's beautiful and the puppetry
It
is
is.
amazing.
It is.
And so if you're a Henson lover, it's definitely worth the watch. Which I am a Henson lover.
Okay, now that Dai said that first one looks like the colors of a bi flag, I'm just like wondering if I should try to make these others the colors of different pride flags.
I think that would be cool.
Yeah.
Let's see. My
so what are you
reference.
reading, Bree?
I am in the middle of A Wizard's Guide to Defensive Baking. Yes, which is just a joy. And then I have I'm going to start The City We Became on audio.
I would love to know how it is on audio.
Apparently, it has like sound effects and stuff. So
Does
it's
it?
like
I kind of
very-
wondered if it would be a good one to have like different narrators for each of the characters, but that would be like a really expensive production.
Well, speaking of that, I've been reading Black Sun and I started it on audiobook when I was driving down, and they do have different narrators for all the because there are 4 main POV characters and they have different narrators for each of them, and it's really good. I'm finishing it up reading because I brought the book with me as well, and it's fantastic. Like Rebecca Rowan Horse, like I love her first foray into like epic fantasy, and it's very good if you haven't read it.
I need to get to it. Like I got my pre-order in like a couple of weeks ago, but oh, what? Did I kick something? MOSFET? What are you doing there?
And I also started the From a Certain Point of View Empire Strikes Back. So that's I think what I'm gonna try and finish up after Black Sun.
I couldn't help but think about you last night because we were watching The Mandalorian and I was watching the newest episode and I was like,
No spoilers for
I was like,
Mandalorian.
why?
I will say that I actually like very much dislike that episode, and it makes me sad for a lot of reasons that I can discuss later on, but
That's okay. I understand that.
I am waiting until all of the episodes are out, and then we will binge it.
Is that how Disney Plus stuff works? They release things one at a time. They're not like the Netflix binge system.
Yeah.
they do.
Yeah, once a week. Netflix does that as well with some series, like for example, Orphan Black.
I think I think for Netflix, it depends on if it has a partnership with the airing partner. Because, like, when I was in Canada, Netflix has the license to some of the CW shows, and so those ones would drop weekly, and they would drop weekly. They do drop weekly for Great British Bake Off, but Disney's model for Disney Plus is everything is weekly, which for something like Mandalorian and the Clone Wars, I do like, just because I kind of miss like the week-long discussion between episodes that you don't really get with the Netflix series.
Yeah. I feel like
I get it, but I also just...
It's harder to avoid spoilers whenever like an entire season drops and you're like, I'm not going to be able to watch this for the next month, but please don't tell me how it ends because you've already watched everything.
Yeah, and I also feel like for some things, like if you don't watch it right away, you feel like you've kind of missed your moment. And I know for me, that kind of hinders me catching up on things, because like for like the Netflix Marvel shows, like I watched, Daredevil and Jessica Jones the first few seasons when they came out. But then
the first season of Jessica Jones was so good, and then they just couldn't replicate that.
But then I was in grad school for the other ones, and I just never got around to watching it. And then, I tried watching Daredevil season 2, and that was just a slog, and it kind of put me off from watching all the other ones.
Yeah.
Like, I think there are some good things about the Netflix model, but I think it also like really limits like how long things are in, like, unless it really like captures lightning, it kind of limits how long it's in the cultural conversation.
Like, I had this thing because the new episodes of The Crown started airing, and I haven't watched them at all. And I realized that I wonder if now that The Crown is entering the time period where I was born, I'm just sort of bored with the idea of even continuing on with it, because I like lived through that time. So I'm like, eh.
I watched the first 5 episodes yesterday, speaking of binging things, and I've kind of felt like that too. Like everybody was super excited to see Princess Diana on screen, and she shows up and I'm like, okay.
Yeah. I mean, there were like these huge like news stories about everything that they got wrong, and I'm like, do people even expect series that are not pitched as documentaries to get stuff right?
Yeah.
Because,
I will say, like, if folks want like Princess Diana related stuff, the podcast You're Wrong About did a 5-part series on Princess Di, and it's fantastic. For folks who don't know, You're Wrong About, it's a podcast hosted by 2 journalists, Michael Hobbs and Sarah Marshall. And the way it's formatted is one person will like do research on a topic that society is like kind of misremembered, or like took the wrong lessons from. So they've done episodes on like the Exxon Valdez oil spill, Y2K, the Satanic Panic. And recently they did a 5-part series on Princess Di. And it's really interesting and it's really good. So if you want something that's like goes into like the fact that Diana was apparently like a hot mess.
Yeah.
Like us all.
Oh yeah, and like they talk about the fact that like the fact that she was kind of a hot mess of a person like makes her much more relatable.
Probably that's why she was so liked. She was relatable to like a general population, even though she wasn't even, she wasn't a commoner, which is also something that people sometimes forget, is that she was also like pedigree royalty, if that's like.
Yeah.
Someone mentioned Queen's Gambit in the chat, and I have picked up 2 different pinafore patterns because I have enjoyed
all of
that
my
so
all of my
much.
costume. I haven't watched Queen's Gambit, but a lot of like costumers that I follow have apparently watched it because everyone's making Queen's Gambit inspired pinafores. Like there's a pinafore influx.
good.
on my
I
feed.
had to go watch the first 2 episodes after I watched Rachel Maxey's video about pinafores. I was like, what? Okay. Then I realized that, oh yeah, it's based on that Walter Tevis novel that everybody tells me I should read. So, so like I kind of want to watch it, but I also want to read the book. Like I want to know what the book's version is before I watch the rest of it. So
Rhea, what
watched the entire thing?
I'm reading. I came prepared. I'm reading Hollowpox. I'm almost done with it. I think if I manage to like read a bit before going to bed, I may actually finish it. I will say, not as good as the second book. Better than the first one. My tier ranking currently, unless the ending does something really spectacular, my tier ranking would be that Wundersmith is the best one, then would be Hollowpox, and Nevermore would be like my least favorite, even though that was still very good. But like, I feel like a lot of the stuff in this is very sort of on the too real category right now because it does deal with a plague.
yeah.
And like I don't mind reading it, but I understand why some people might have like the this feels a little too much for me. But like it's been enjoyable. Like I'm speeding through it. I started like speeding through on my level of speeding through, which is like I've started this a couple days ago. For me, that's speeding through. And then I'm also reading. Yeah, come here. Right, baby.
Oh, such a good book.
I'm actually like super hoping to finish it. Like I've only just started. I'm like what 20 pages in, but it's like shit hits the fan real quick.
Yeah, I have a lot of feelings about the fact that Tor did not market that as grappling with capitalism and how exploitative it is, and they instead marketed Docile as that. I have a lot of feelings about Tor's marketing. Not a lot of them are not positive.
I mean, I don't think your opinions are wrong. I also have similar feelings about Tor.com's marketing.
I mean, I love Tor for all that it does, but at the same time, I think that it should be okay to criticize. Like, especially if you have a company that's pretty much like, well, not the only one doing stuff, but the most like prominent entity doing certain type of stuff, they tend to start getting a pat on the back for everything, which is like you need to be able to kind of bring things into focus and be like, hey, this is where you kind of fucked up. Can you not? That's something.
And I think part of the problem is that Tor will market things as, oh, this is a delightful romp, and
it's not.
Yeah, like Amberlow. Like I really enjoyed Amberlow, but it was the way.
Oh my god, Amberlow is so disturbing, especially in the end. Like I was reading it and I was like, whoa, this took a turn.
Yeah, like they were comparing it to Cabaret, but the way they're marketing it is like the way we think of like Cabaret is like, oh, it's like the 1930s and they're like, you know, singing and dancing and it's in a nightclub, and it's more of like Cabaret is like, this is in the Weimar Republic right before Nazism starts.
Yeah.
And like there's that, and there's like Gideon the Ninth, which again I really enjoyed, but I felt like the marketing was much more focused on like lesbians and lesbian necromancers in space and like swords, and like not really talking about the fact that there's a lot of really dark shit in there.
I mean,
Yeah.
I mean,
So
marketing doesn't like marketing is just marketing. Like it's basically like they want to get a certain number of butts in seats, so to speak. So
yeah, I'm worried that because they market everything as a delightful romp, that it's going to get to the point where it's going to really misrepresent something.
oh
in a
yeah,
way where because like I think we've kind of seen it like a little bit of
I
that.
feel like they've already done that though. Like misrepresented someone to the point where that it's like you know when you're like what's the word? Brain, please cooperate. When you have decided on a certain type of marketing ploy and you go with it, you may actually hinder the type of readership that would gravitate towards that book. For example, I still feel that the idea of Angel of the Crows being marketed first and foremost as a Jack the Ripper retelling instead of being like caps lock marketed as a Sherlock retelling. Do I want to read about Jack the Ripper or do I want to read about like Sherlock facsimiles? Give me the Sherlock facsimiles, please.
Yeah, that one is absolutely one that I would never have looked twice at based on the description if I hadn't wanted to read more by the author.
Yeah.
And it took other people talking about it for me to be like, oh yeah, that actually really, really is something that I will enjoy.
Yeah. And I think too that, and I mean, so much of it comes back with just how I deeply dislike how they've marketed Docile and First Become Ashes, because they keep using AO3 tags, but they're using it in like the way, like kind of the superficial way of like hurt, comfort, all of that, but ignoring the fact that if this was a fic on AO3, like if Sparza did not put like mark rape non-con, like people would be legitimately complaining because that's something that's key to the book. And if you look at the tags that they put out for Docile, it's nowhere near that. And so I think like you can talk about, it was Amala Motar's New York Times review where she was like, oh, well, it's like getting consent from the readers. I'm like, no, it's not, because it, like the tags that they're using are not.
I mean, if the reader is going in, if the reader is going in with the like wrong impression, is that like basically they are not giving consent in a fully aware situation, if that makes sense?
Yeah. So yeah.
Like I think of it almost as like a consumer protection.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Like you're reading fiction, generally speaking, to enjoy yourself. And like not only is there like the trigger warning aspect, but like there are certain things that I know I will not enjoy, and by not being forthcoming about that, I just can't like
and
make those right decisions for myself.
Yeah, and I'm not saying like, I mean, I do have critiques about Docile being pro-pub slave fic that does not engage with race and the legacy of American slavery, particularly given that it's set in Baltimore of all places. Like, I think that's a very different thing. But like, I'm not saying Sparza can't write dark shit. I just really dislike how Tor is choosing to market it.
Oh yeah, no, I think that is at its core the issue.
Yeah,
I'm kind of curious if there was a real backfire on Docile, because I heard so much about it and then it was dropped immediately from like probably the book community that I engage with. Like I haven't heard anything about it except for people mentioning the marketing problem.
Gender non-binary, right?
Yes.
Nice.
I know green is not in the flag, but I decided to put a little bit of green in there because Spectrolite has a little green.
Yeah, I think I'm really interested to know what the advance was, because the way that they were marketing Docile was very much like, we want this to earn out. We want this to like get a lot of money. But I think once critiques started rolling in, it kind of got dropped. And I think too, because I remember, oh God, I think it was at RWA. It was like at a romance convention, and someone like Tor was advertising docile and not like House on Cerulean Sea, which I think is, from what I've heard, is more in line with like the happy ever after and like what.
That's weird to me.
Yeah, it was. I think it was Bree Bridges who was. No, it wasn't. Someone was remarking on it, but it was just. It was, yeah, kind of like what Rachel said. It was weird, and I think because I think when people started like really critiquing the race aspect, like I definitely noticed there was a drop in when Tor was marketing it after the George Floyd death, and when people started talking about race in fiction and race in publishing. And like, because it was Pride Month in June and Tor had been marketing it as like this gay love story, and they did not like,
Okay.
I was looking because I was very curious that for pretty much all of June, they did not do any promotional tweets for it. And Sparza like disappeared from Twitter for a while.
That's concerning.
Yeah, it was like, I think there were like a lot of critiques about how it handled race, and given everything that happened in early June, they were just like not touching it.
I mean, I can understand that. Like, for example, I've noticed now that because I'm reading Hollowpox by Jessica Townsend, and I definitely see that because Jessica Townsend decided to make her world something that is like her world is super diverse in a sense that race doesn't really factor in how people are treated and stuff. So you have just like people from different like sexual orientations and different ethnicities just existing and coexisting and commingling. So now that she's trying to sort of bring awareness to certain things, she has to kind of use other shorthands to do that. For example, she in this book she wants to clearly talk about stuff like race relations and immigration. But she's already written her world in a way where race doesn't factor in. So it has like a fantastical facsimile, like a metaphor, allegory for that, which I think is interesting. But like I could see how some people could view that as like not really something they would be into, considering that in like our world those things still affect actual people, so it's not like an allegory. But I just think it's interesting, especially like considering that it's a children's book.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Yeah. Rebecca was talking about Autonomous. I don't remember much about how Autonomous was marketed, but I do remember being super surprised nobody was talking about that really problematic relationship at the end.
Oh yeah, that relationship was extremely horrible, and I actually think that I think the narrative doesn't really handle it with the best type of gravitas, given how problematic the relationship is, but it also doesn't endorse it. Like there's definitely like, especially because the point of view of the relationship is the one who is being abused and sort of like taken advantage of. So like it kind of manages to sidestep the issue by not having the abuser be the like point of view for that relationship, but at the same time it's like it still sort of ends with this happy ending for that couple, which is kind of like not sure how I feel about that, but at the same time, like But at the same time, the book's whole premise is like, what even is true autonomy, and can anyone actually achieve true autonomy? That's the whole premise of the book. So I personally didn't mind it while reading it.
I didn't mind it either, but I felt very uncomfortable at the end because I thought it was trying to imply some sort of happy ending with a relationship.
Yeah.
I thought it was deeply uncomfortable instead. Yeah.
Yeah, it was kind of like, run, Forrest, run. But it was the same thing that I know that, like, I'm once again ragging on Mackenzie Lee, but I felt that same way about Gentleman's Guide to Vice and Virtue, with where I was like, at the end, I was like, no, run, Percy, run.
That
take a boat and get out.
And none of them are positive. Yeah, her next book is looking at the Caribbean slave, like it's set in the Caribbean during the slave trade, and so I fully expect her to handle that the same sensitivity she handled race in her previous books.
Wait, Mackenzie Lee?
Yes. The book is about Monty's younger brother, and he, like, based on the description, he has an anxiety attack and then goes to visit his mom's estates in the Caribbean, and I'm just like, that's a no from me.
I'm like, ugh,
given the fact that she had a book canceled for really problematic trans representation, like, I'm really worried about this book.
Like, I just, like, do you remember the time when everyone actually, like, really loved that book?
Yeah, I did not understand why.
Yeah.
I enjoyed it, but I thought the plot was deeply flawed.
I hated the main character. Like, I was reading it and I'm just like, I can see why people like this, but I think this character is just terrible.
Die. High five.
And I was, yeah, I did not enjoy that book.
It was so. I mean, also, like Monty was just like a vehicle for the like every bit of character development was scrapped every time. Like, every bit of character development Monty had was scrapped every time Mackenzie Lee wrote herself into a corner and had to somehow find a way out. So then her approach would be that Monty would do something stupid and selfish, negating everything that he had learned prior to that. So it was like, well, this guy, and then because of that, it was like Monty came across as this guy is an irredeemable fucker who just doesn't care to learn from his mistakes.
Yeah.
And it's like, what, like, Mackenzie Lee, what do you want it to be? Do you want it to be that your character is a flawed, problematic person, or do you want it to be that you are a shitty hack of a writer? Like, these are your two options. Choose.
Yeah, and I just, like, I was kind of, like, I didn't, like, I had disliked A Gentleman's Guide to Virtue and Vice and was like, I don't think I'm going to be reading any more of Mackenzie Lee's works. And then the whole defacing books as, like, a way to find them. And then she never really apologized. And she tried to, when Rin Chupetko was like, hey, this is really uncool. Why are you doing this? She was like, oh, I'm sorry. I don't, like, even though I don't know you. And it turned out that they had previous conversations because they used to have the same agent.
Yeah.
So wait, what happened?
So this
you
was
haven't heard about the defacing thing.
So
No.
this was in April, and she apparently, like, as part of a way to encourage people to buy from King's bookstore or King Street bookstore in Salt Lake City, was like, I will sign any books that you order, and which by itself is weird. Like,
Yeah.
authors signing other people's books is weird.
Yeah.
But then it wasn't just signing, it was like full on, like, illustrations or like things like Laura Dean is breaking up with me. She crossed out Laura Dean, and it's like Mackenzie Lee is breaking up with me. Or
basically like defacings and memes and shitty humor and stuff.
And like I said, when it was brought up, like Rin Chupeco was like, "Hey, this is really uncool," because one of her recent releases was one of the books that this happened to you. And then Mackenzie Lee was like, "Oh, I don't like." It was just really gross. And then, like I said, she never really apologized. And then, like a couple months later, her Madness Blooms book got canceled because I guess there was no fixing the fact that the trans representation was awful in that book.
I mean, with Rin Chupeco, she basically did the whole, I'm sorry, who are you? And then Rin Chupeco came out with receipts about how they have interacted previously and had conversations and stuff. And it was so embarrassing. Like, it was like, it was incredibly embarrassing to see a person dig themselves into a hole, get called out, and then dig themselves even further in.
Yeah. So like at this point, I'm just like, she's on my list of authors that I'm just like, nope. Will not read your book. Will remind people of how terrible you acted because you still haven't apologized.
Yeah. Oi, oi, oi.
Let's talk about more fun things that we're doing. Before I get into another funk over, unpleasant author behavior because it never ends.
No, it never does.
Let's talk about media entertainment that we are enjoying. What are people watching? We've talked a little bit about this already, but I want to start by saying that Rhea and I finally finished our watch together of season 1 of Farscape.
We did it! It took like 2.5 months or something, but we finally
it was closer to 3 or 4 months. Yeah.
I mean, did we start in July? Something like I think in July, Stitch and Bitch, we started talking about that we should start watching it.
Yeah. I think so.
So then it's like August, September, October, November. It's like 3.5 months. But to be fair, it's 22 episodes.
It is. I'm not used to like television series, like the seasons being that long. I'm so used to like 8 to 13 episodes max of things. So it's like twice as long.
Oh.
Uh-oh.
We lost Rhea.
Oh no.
Sorry, I think her device is disconnected. She'll be back in a minute.
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
Anyway, yes. We finished Farscape season 1, and it was a rewatch for both of us.
Oh, Farscape.
Okay. Yeah. And I think Rhea and I agreed that the first half of season 1 was a mess. We can't hear you. Can you double check your microphone?
I haven't been watching a lot of things, but my partner got the PS5 on pre-order.
Nice.
And I've been playing Bug Snacks. It's this dumb game about like you're a journalist and you go to this island where like the head of the island has disappeared and you eat these little like they're like strawberries and hamburgers, but they're bugs. And when you eat them, part of your body turns into that thing, right? So like you'll eat like this strawberry spider thing and part of your hand will turn into this strawberry. It's very weird. It's very weird.
I have a funny story about PS5 because me and partner have watched me and partner started playing Horizon Zero Dawn.
I love that game.
Horizon Zero Dawn is the best. And prior to playing that, partner was like, we are not getting a PS5 because Sony is a dreadful, awful company and we will not monetarily support Sony in any way. And then we played Horizon Zero Dawn and partner is like, Forbidden West, is coming to PS5. How about how about getting that? So now we're both in the rabbit hole.
Yeah, I love that game. I replayed it earlier this year.
There's so much lore. I just subscribed to 2 different YouTube channels, all dedicated to just explaining and going over Horizon Zero Dawn lore.
I have some theories about a certain character that you meet in Horizon Zero Dawn who ranks above the Elusive Man in video game characters that I love to hate. And so far, nothing in Horizon Horizon Forbidden West has disproved my theory.
Oh, I think there's a question specifically that Dai is well suited to answer in the chat.
Is this about the Dragon Age?
Yep.
Yeah, so I love Dragon Age, and I was in the same boat, Rebecca, where I played Inquisition first. I had never played any of the other games, and so I think Inquisition works for someone who hasn't played before. There are some things that you'll find out, or there are big reveals in the first and second game, but like I said, I think it does a good job of establishing the lore really well. I would recommend getting, if you like Dragon Age, getting Origins and Dragon Age 2. They're very different flavors. Dragon Age Origins is very much like an epic quest to save the world. Dragon Age Origins is you're saving the world, and then Dragon Age 2 is much more of an intimate story that's focused, it's very focused on a particular person and their relationships, both with other people and with the city that they're in. And I really love Dragon Age 2. I highly recommend it. But yeah, I think you can play it. There's really great lore in it. And in terms of who you're playing, dwarfs never get enough love in those games. Love the dwarfs. But I will say, I think in terms of getting a lot out of it, playing as a human mage or as an elf your first time will just adds a lot to it.
I would also say that I have only played Dragon Age Inquisition and the very first Dragon Age, and I played Inquisition first, and I had no problem getting into the game. Pretty much explains itself very well. It's kind of like those things that if you have played it in chronological order, you kind of get those Easter eggs and kind of those inside things, but the game doesn't feel like it's pushing you away if you haven't played. I think same with games like Witcher 3.
Yeah.
If you haven't played the first 2, it's okay, you're fine.
Yeah, and I think it's very different than something like the Mass Effect trilogy, where if you just started with Mass Effect 3, you would be missing out on so much in the previous 2 games, because the Mass Effect trilogy really is this one continuous story told over 3 games, where the way Dragon Age is, because it follows individual, each game follows a different character, it works out well where you don't necessarily need to have played the previous games in order to get a good story.
Yeah.
But yeah, I love that series a lot. It's great. Cassandra Pendergast is wonderful, and I'm very sad that she is a dude-only romance, because that woman is ridiculously bi.
I mean, I'm still salty that I had to play as a woman to romance Cullen, because I'm just I just think that Cullen also exudes chaotic bi energy, in my opinion.
That was me with having to play a dude to romance Cassandra. Is I was so annoyed because I was either going to romance Cassandra or Dorian, and I'm less annoyed about Dorian because I think Dorian is explicitly very gay, and I was less annoyed about I'm less annoyed about having to play a dude to romance him, but I was just so annoyed about having to play a dude to romance Cassandra, because I'm she should have been by BioWare. You are cowards.
But I think the most annoyed I have ever been is like if you want to romance Solus, because then you have to be an elf and a woman. So it's like it's hetero and racist or like species supremacist in a way, because Solus is the worst. But I also love Solus, but Solus is the worst.
Solus is very much a character who, like, if I knew him in real life, I'd want to punch him.
Yes,
but
yes.
Also, I find like I really like him as a character in no small part because the actor who plays Yanto in Torchwood voices him.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Like, so Solus is one of those like characters that if he was a person in real life, he would be all up in your comment section, leaving comments like, actually, like he's that type of person. Like, but he's also so entertaining because the way he is written is like he's just so ridiculous.
I'm going to try not to get super into spoilers, but I think the thing is with Solus is, like, even when he's being really annoying and, like, really condescending, there are certain parts where you're like, I can understand how you got this way.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, so, like I said, Solus, so if I knew Solus in real life, I'd punch him. But as a character in Dragon Age, he's great. I think the only character that in Inquisition that I like have a deep to is Blackwall, and that's mostly because I don't like Blackwall. And this is, again, mostly like for very petty reasons, because the first time I played, I was playing as a female dwarf, and I felt like the game was aggressively pushing his romance option at me. And I'm just like, I do not want to romance the hairy bearded man. I want to romance the giant ox man voiced by Freddie Prinze Jr.
I mean, I have a soft spot for Blackwall, okay? Blackwall actually, like, as we were talking about Horizon Zero Dawn, Blackwall reminds me of Rost. He has a similar type of, like, I don't know, maybe it's my, like, repressed 2 decades worth of daddy issues, but I just, like, love bearded father figures who take care of their, like, found family thing. I just,
my reasons for not liking Blackwall are very petty and just rooted in the fact that I felt the game was shoving his romance.
To be fair, I have never played Inquisition as a dwarf, so maybe this is why.
And I think because he's a female-only romance, and he's like kind of he and Sarah are the one. He's like, I think, the deep, like, who they expected a lot of people who are playing as a female character to romance. And I think that's why, like, his romance option was so prominent. Because, like, you can flirt with other people, but they'll, like, gently turn you down, which is, like, again, very upset that about Cassandra. I will say that Dragon Age 2, everyone is bi except for Sebastian, who you do have to pay to get, which some of his missions are cool, but Sebastian's kind of annoying. But he has a great Scottish accent.
I do say that I personally prefer that the way Inquisition did it, that the characters themselves have different orientations. Because I just feel like that's one way to, like, give them character and characterization. But then again, I also like what I call the Ellen Kushner approach, where everyone is bi unless otherwise stated.
Yeah, and I feel like with the fact that in Dragon Age 2, the fact that everyone is bi is more true to life, because I definitely have, like, friend groups where there's, like, one token straight friend.
I don't even know if I have a token straight friend.
I do have, like, in one of my friend groups, I have a token straight friend. So I feel like the fact that Sebastian is the token straight friend is very true to life.
Okay. One more for the road.
A romanticism?
Yeah, a romantic.
Nice.
I did feel very called out as like a bi lady because I've been watching the TikTok because I coach a college collegiate academic team and they were like, Bree, you have to do the TikTok.
Yeah.
So I did that, and one of the things that they keep suggesting is this. It's all overlaid on this audio that's just like every bi woman dates like a skinny, sad gamer guy, and I was like, oh, hi. Like, do you feel? And part of it is like, do you feel like you're missing out because you're doing that? And I was like, oh man, hi.
I mean,
I'm right here.
I also feel indefinitely called out by this.
I told my
Like-
partner, and he was a very good sport about it.
I mean,
It's like,
I don't know what to say. Like it's so weird. By the way, like sometimes I go into what I call the bi imposter syndrome. Like the longer you are in a straight perceived relationship, the like if you like, for example, if you are gay or straight and you are in a monogamous relationship for years, nobody really bats an eye. But if you are bi and you are or pan and you are in a monogamous relationship with a person who is of one gender, and then people just start, or you yourself start questioning the validity of your own bi-ness, which is just like, this is so stupid. Like, why? Why would I question that though?
so real feel.
It's like you have been dating for 5 years, and it's like now I need to find a way to end this so that I can prove to myself and all the world that I'm really bi by dating someone from a different gender. Like, what? No.
I will say the thing that has been most taking up my time lately is not like a media thing, but deciding what cosplays I want to do for the next con I get to go to.
Yes.
We have a local one that's really easy to do like extravagant stuff because I have to drive 10 minutes to it instead of like getting on an airplane and doing stuff. Yeah. I was like, I want to be the giant paper mache Goomba from Paper Mario Origami King. And I finally got my partner to agree that if I did that, he would wear like a little poster board Paper Mario outfit so that, and that we would enter the costume contest so that he could chase me and hammer me and I could throw confetti.
That sounds so great. Or you could build like one of those cannons that shoots confetti and incorporate it to your outfit so that it looks like
like it's coming out. Yeah because I'm gonna do a little slit at the top so I can stake the little flag out. You know how he has the little flag for when he has with the exclamation point when he sees you.
So great.
I've spent a lot of time in quarantine thinking about how to do a paper mache Goomba. Like,
I mean,
probably more than I should.
I have spent a lot of time in quarantine also like listing all the various cosplay things that I want to do. And also like moaning the fact that it requires a lot of time, effort, and money to be able to do all that. And also that there is not a single convention that currently is even close to happening.
I'm also a little bit sold on the idea of doing like an obnoxious, sexy Tom Nook from Animal Crossing. As like, I don't quite know what I would be saying, right? Like, I feel like there's a statement in there and I'm not sure what it is, but I'm sold on whatever it is.
I mean, have you seen the meme of Isabel from Animal Crossing sitting on like a Pornhub casting couch?
Oh no, I haven't.
Yeah, there's a meme of that.
I think if you do that,
right now,
someone to be a sexy red because red and this is my favorite.
They are like lovers to enemies to bitter rivals. They are bitter exes, and that's canon. Well, sort of canon. At least the fact that they are bitter enemies And right now, Rachel is wondering what she has gotten herself into when people are discussing Pornhub and other stuff on her channel, and it's like, oh no.
The desire to make a lot of non-sexual characters sexy is absolutely lost on me. I do not get it. It's a little uncomfortable.
Mostly, so in
I
my
feel
brain, it triggers this like what the WTF moment, and Button
Yeah.
as like the sexy Handmaid's Tale costumes that were going around, like this is not two things that should be put together. But I feel like
I think that it's like this, for me at least, it brings up this idea that like sex and sexual things are just inherently hilarious in a sort of goofy way. Like I think people in general take like the world around us seems to put much more stock into sexual things than need be, in my opinion. Like I'm just like, I feel like even people who experience attraction and desire in that way spend most of their lives not really thinking about it. But if we look at the presentation of our media and advertising and all that, you would not think that. And that's strange to me.
I started watching the new DuckTales on Disney Plus, and it is a delight.
Is it? I love DuckTales.
It's a lot of fun.
Doesn't it have David Tennant in it?
Yeah, I'm enjoying David Tennant just like really hamming up his Scottish accent as Scrooge McDuck. Yeah, it's just like I'm really enjoying it. It's a lot of like emphasizing family, like as creating your own family and like healthy relationships and communication, but also adventure and shenanigans.
I'm waiting for them to do a new Darkwing Duck because that was my favorite duck growing up.
Well, I haven't gotten to it yet, but Darkwing Duck does show up in DuckTales.
Yeah, which is not like out of the norm. I think he showed up a couple times in the original.
I loved Darkwing Duck as a kid.
Stephanie Beatrice voices Goslin.
Nice.
But yeah, if you have Disney Plus, the first 2 seasons are on there, and like it's a lot of fun. It's like if you want something like not too heavy, that's just like an actual fun romp, would highly recommend.
We've also been watching all of the Animaniacs reboot, which
that happened.
Is like some of it's funny. It's kind of in keeping with Animaniacs just in general. It's kind of hit or miss depending on the sketch. But they definitely, like, you can tell they did it in, like, they wrote all the stuff and like did the animation in 2018 because there's a Tokyo Olympics episode, and so we're sitting there. I was like, "Oh, hi, you sweet summer child. How are you?"
Oh dear.
Oh wow.
So I've been watching that, and I've also been listening to a lot of You're Wrong About. That just kind of like hit my sweet spot of like maybe it was capitalism all along. Ronald Reagan is the root of many evils we deal with today.
Yes.
And also just like talking about various things in history.
Rachel, what have you been watching?
Well, The Crown. Actually, I wasn't watching anything except for Farscape for a long time, but The Crown, and now I'm looking forward to whenever the next what season is The Expanse onto next? I think it starts in a couple of weeks. 5? 4 or 5?
5.
Yeah.
5, yeah.
See, the only reason I'm keeping Amazon Prime right now.
Yeah, I'm that's like mine and partners, probably our the way we are gonna spend Christmas is just by hang up a tree, get a Christmas ham going, and just watch It Expanse.
I feel like I should actually watch some like Christmas holiday themed movies or something because I've never done that before, ever.
I want you to do a series where you watch the Netflix Christmas movies and you just like a series of video reviews of you watching the Netflix Christmas cinematic universe.
Rachel watching the Vanessa Hudgens cinematic universe.
Right,
What?
but they're in the newest one. She plays 3 characters. 3.
What? What is that?
Okay.
Princess Switch.
Switched again or something.
Switched again.
But what is that though?
It's basically Prince and a Pauper, but with a Duchess and a baker.
Wait. Last season of The Expanse says Ron. Why?
Yeah, it's ending
Why?
after season 6.
What you mean
Why
that
is this?
it's officially going to be the last one?
So not this upcoming season is not the last one. So this upcoming season is season 5, and it got renewed for a 6th and final season.
Okay.
Okay.
I don't even know how many books they've gotten through.
Someone is saying that Dramaro is saying that the Lego Star Wars Christmas special was actually pretty good. I haven't watched
every single Lego thing.
I've heard
pretty
it's
awesome.
delightful.
I love Lego animation and I love Star Wars.
Also, the Lego video games are the best, and Lego Lord of the Rings. If you haven't played it, it's the only true way to enjoy Lord of the Rings trilogy if you haven't read the books.
I used to babysit for a boy who had ASD, and his 2 like big things were Lego Ninjagos and Star Wars Clone Wars. The whole point of me telling you this is that he was the coolest kid.
Clearly.
He was awesome.
Okay, here's my question. If people want me to go watch Christmas Prince movies, would those be a good pick-me-up after I finish Kindred?
Yes. Oh, they're total fluff.
Anything is a good pick-me-up after you finish
I mean, I
Kindred.
was going to finish my audiobook and then watch the rest of The Crown this evening, but that depresses me because everybody in The Crown, these real people, made such horrible relationship decisions.
Like,
And there's
what I need from you though is for you to at least commit to live tweeting while you watch it, so that I can see your reactions.
Just because, like, they're so ridiculous.
Oh, they're absurd.
We'll see what I can do.
Like, it is the very definition of, does a movie truly need internal logic? Does it need like sensible characterizations, or can we not simply just enjoy it?
If it's not logical, I may finish off a bottle of wine because I am such a logical person. I will twist myself up into knots trying to figure out what is going on.
But I am here for
survive. You did survive 22 episodes of Farscape with me relatively sober, so
Yeah, but they actually developed a bit of internal continuity by the end.
yeah, by the end.
Oh.
I think my Christmas plans are watching Bridgertons and Wonder Woman 1984.
Oh
yeah.
Okay,
that's coming.
I've heard of Bridgerton and I watched the trailer. Where is that going to be? Is that going to be on Netflix? Okay. Is that an adaptation of something, or is it just a brand new show?
Of a series of, it's Julia Quinn romance novels.
Huh. So I watched the trailer and thought, this is delightfully
I will
quirky.
say, in terms of prose, my aunt listened to the first 3 on audiobook and went on a mini rant about how bad the prose was in the second book. So, like, if you read them, don't expect, like, she was like, how can someone swallow convulsively all the time?
Ta-da!
Those are
Oh.
turning out quite good,
I love
Rhea.
it. Those are really nice, Rhea.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe after I have
The
waited for them
inspiration
to.
with the Bridgerton novels, maybe not a good idea to read.
Yeah, I don't think I want to read them. I think I'll watch the show.
Yeah, like Shonda's shows can be messy, but I know like in general they're very entertaining, and like she does care for the character. Like that's one of the things where they care for the characters.
I've
So, like,
actually never watched a Shonda Rhimes TV show in my life.
I'm
Not a
just.
single episode.
I watched Scandal to the point of me being so annoyed with Fitz, where he was the president, who was the guy who's like the lead romantic or the romantic lead to Kerry Washington's character. I hated him so much I stopped watching. Because I'm like, I know Olivia's a hot mess, but she can do better than him. Hi, Tesla.
Oh.
Chubby boy.
He is. Look at him. He's gotten a quarantine belly.
Don't we all?
Yeah, so Rebecca commented on the author's POV or Julia Quinn's talk, like how she approaches or doesn't approach race, and that's kind of the other reason I want to watch it, because Shonda Rhimes, like her trademark is very racially diverse cast. I'm like, yes, make this cast multiracial.
Yeah. Rhea, I think Tesla looks like a cat from a Ghibli movie.
Yes.
It's just his face. He's so adorable.
He has the chubby cheeks.
Yeah.
Speaking of chubby,
I'm trying to make him not bully Hedda because I think he wants kibbles even though he has them in the bowl, and he usually tries to blackmail us by bullying any of the other kittens, usually Hedda, to give him food. Because he knows he's not supposed to do that. Hey, can you not?
I finally started separating Soren and Wally when they eat, because Soren desperately really should lose some weight, especially with his balance problems, and he's just crank Zillow right now. He waffles back and forth between like being very cranky with me and then wanting nothing but more than for me to just hold him for like 3 hours. It has been a lot of drama.
yeah,
I can relate. I can relate. The food issues here have also been a lot.
So despite the fact that Leia is much chubbier than Luke and weighs more, he's pushier around food than she is, particularly with wet food. So like I'm not super worried about separating them, and they tend to just graze on their dry food throughout the day. So yeah, that's right. That's you.
I mean, because Tesla is diabetic, we really have to like supervise his eating. So now, unfortunately, we've had to actually cut back on Hedda's and Mosfet's portion size, because when Tesla has finished on his food, he will go over and empties every other cat's food bowl.
Yeah, Wally gets super distracted. Like in the middle of eating, she like will be like, "What's over here right now?" And she's such a dainty eater that like it takes her like 3 times as long to eat. So if she gets distracted, he's like right in there.
Yeah, Hedda does this thing where it takes her a long time to eat because she doesn't eat straight from the bowl. She scoops it up with her paw and then eats it from her paw like a little dainty lady. And then she also like takes breaks in between. She's like, okay, if I leave my food here, certainly there will be
It'll
food
be there
here.
when you return.
Yeah, when I come back. And then in the meantime, Tesla will just go hum, 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 hum.
That's a real so not media related, but I have been obsessed. I stumbled across a YouTube tutorial with about how to use a Swift darner, which is like it's like a little like a darning egg, but it has like these little hooks for the threads, and so you don't have to weave. It just like alternates the ways the threads are so that you can just slide back and forth really easy. And I have been obsessed with it ever since.
That sounds very interesting.
I'm Googling images. That doesn't seem like the.
I will see about dropping a link in the chat.
I actually need to get one of those darning eggs or darning mushrooms. They're really handy for like when you're doing the underarms of sweaters and stuff.
Oh yeah.
Oh, now I see what you mean. Okay.
Yeah, I'm just super into it.
Be very glad you didn't just scratch my tattoo. That's an expensive scratch.
So we've got about 15 minutes left. Do we want to move on to things we're looking forward to?
Sure.
I'm looking forward for this year to end.
Me too. Or we say, I am looking forward to specifically January 20th, I think. We probably shouldn't talk about that too much though, but
What's happening on
I
January?
will say I'm very sad that with the pandemic there isn't going to be like a big inauguration party because I would love to go to DC.
Oh yeah, that thing is happening on January.
like I think I'll be relieved when it's over, but the lead up I'm just going to be on pins and needles wondering about all the drama and everything that's going to break before then. But
I'm just
Look,
here as the lone non-American being like, what's happening in January?
possibly our nightmare will be over.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I'm looking forward to Bridgertons and also finally getting to see Wonder Woman 1984 without having to go to a movie theater.
Oh my God, yes.
I'm very happy that Warner Brothers is releasing it on HBO Max because I really wanted to see it, but I also, like I said, I didn't want to go to a movie theater.
Oh yeah, I wouldn't be going to a movie theater for it, but I am super excited to see it.
You know what I'm waiting for? What? Gentleman Jack season 2, because they have started filming on it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can't wait until we have a release date.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. I don't think there's any books coming out.
December is always such a dead month for new releases, but ULEU's debut novel is coming out.
Yeah.
When I get hold of that eventually.
Oh, yeah, that site was what I needed. I was like, what was I looking for? I'm just here looking at an empty tab, like, what?
Shannon says Vlogmas, and I agree. There are so many people who are going to be doing Vlogmas this year, and I'm like, I can watch all of them.
Yeah, I have this like the one year that I did Vlogmas. After that, I've just been like, I will enjoy every single person who does Vlogmas, but I will never do it again myself because it was so stressful. And that's why I appreciate all the more the people who actually go through with it every year.
I have major respect for people who do Vlogmas or Vita every single year. I've done them both, but only once because it's so intense. Like I pretty much do it to prove I can, and then I'm like, never again. And good luck, Shannon, because I know you're doing it and Kazan is doing it, and yeah.
I'm wishing all the luck to everyone who is doing them.
Mm-hmm.
I am desperately I'm desperately trying to finish my thesis in December. And then hopefully I will be a graduate.
You're so close. You'll be
I'm
there.
so close. You know how annoying it is? You just have to vomit all the text out of your brain.
Yep.
And that's the most annoying part.
Yep.
I'm trying to look at hey, stop crawling. Ugh.
I'm trying to think of. Oh, one thing I forgot to mention that I have been enjoying media-wise is kitten. Is the new Assassin's Creed game, because like I know Ubisoft is terrible, but I also am enjoying being a Viking.
I just like from everything that I've seen of that game, I've been like, well, someone took the Vikings TV show aesthetic and ran with it.
Oh, they totally did. And
Yeah.
like one of the
Because
characters,
I'm here as a Nordic person, like, yeah, that's not how that yeah.
oh yeah, like, it is ridiculous. And one of my good friends is a medievalist who specializes in medieval Wales, like just before and just after the Norman invasion. And so I was talking to her about it, and she was like, "This is ridiculous."
Yeah, the whole shaved sides and the faux hawks and that whole thing. I was like, they do realize that most Nordics, Vikings included, believe that your hair came from the gods, and therefore men and women kept their hair long and super neat because it was like a gift, essentially.
Like I said, it is a very ridiculous game that I am very much enjoying because it like hits that like urge in games where like you want to stab people, but also you
I feel like it will be incredibly entertaining, but like at the same time, I do like the Vikings aesthetic myself, but at the same time I'm also like super dubious about it because like the whole unwashed masses like Vikings thing wasn't really a thing.
Yeah.
Like it's just funny.
Yeah, Rebecca, that's the one that came out and has a non-binary character option. So with Assassin's Creed Valhalla, you can choose to either play it. You can play as a male Eivor or a female Eivor, or you can have like the game decide and it will switch up presentations like throughout the game, and you can always switch presentations if you want to do it. So it's different than Assassin's Creed Odyssey, where Cassandra and Alexios were like very distinct characters, and like how they were characterized were very different. But from what I understand with Eivor, it's like the same character no matter the gender presentation.
I also have heard people like be really upset about it, and I'm like, do you realize there's this deity called Loki, right?
Yeah.
That has this whole thing about gender bending and thing. Like, you do realize that. People like, sometimes I'm like, people get so invested and upset at the most ridiculous things.
Yeah, it's a fun game. Would highly recommend it if you want to play as a fantasy version of what a Viking is and run around England.
I just finished looking at the December 2020 book releases, and I actually don't see any books that I want to read. Except like, Rachel, did you say that Nevo's book is coming out on December?
Nevo's, yeah, When the Tiger Came Down from the Mountain. And Ela Liu's On Fragile Waves is coming out too.
Yeah, I don't know that there's anything in particular that I'm like looking forward to. I don't know. I just keep waiting for The Green Knight to get a new release date.
God, I know.
Yes.
This was supposed to be the year of Dev
Dev
Patel.
Patel. Yeah.
Yes.
So I'm disappointed, and that is what I want all the time. So I will be very excited. I will be posting all over the Twitter when finally that happens. You will know.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Dev Patel.
At least his David Copperfield movie got released video on demand. I need to rent that
Yeah.
at some point.
I need that. To this day, the only David Copperfield adaptation that I've seen is the animated furry one, where David Copperfield is a cat.
That's the thing that exists.
That is a thing that exists.
I had to read.
It's also a musical.
I had to read like a children's abridged edition of David Copperfield in elementary school, and it's the only thing I've ever. No, I've also read the Christmas Charles Dickens thing. That's the only thing I've ever read by Charles Dickens, and I was just like, no, no, I don't even want to watch adaptations.
I mean, in the animated David Copperfield, the children who get taken away when they are not useful to the whole factory operation, instead of just disappearing, they turn into goo monsters that stalk the sewers of the factory. And then at the end, they are all saved by sunlight and love. This is a thing of my childhood. It's so stupid.
Wow.
Oh
Yeah.
Rebecca mentioned the Alyssa Cole Runaway Royals.
Oh, yes. I'm excited about that.
Also, by the way, speaking of animations, has any of you seen the like puppeteer version, like puppet animation of the 12th Night by Shakespeare?
No.
Yeah, that was also a thing in my childhood. Apparently, it was like a Russian thing, but
Okay.
it was like a stop motion and puppetry like thing, and the puppets had like these cool Elizabethan costumes, and it was a full 12th Night, but you know, with
Somewhat
puppets.
related. 12th Night would be a great Muppets adaptation.
Yes.
I would watch any adaptation with Muppets, to be honest.
Fair. And that's just fair. I think we all would watch any adaptation of anything.
Because I think you could have Viola and Sebastian be the humans, and then you could have Kermit as Duke Orsino, and Miss Piggy as the woman that Orsino loves. And
Oh my god.
I'd be really into a Muppets
Midsummer Night's Dream.
Midsummer. Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Midsummer.
Oh my god. Kermit as Miss Piggy as Titania and Kermit as the
Oberon.
Yeah, Oberon.
Oh my god, and also could be Puck.
It writes itself. It writes itself.
Well, it helps that it was already written once.
Hire us to oversee the Muppet adaptation line.
Yes.
I have a long-standing thing where I feel like really media people should just like hire me and, you know, like a couple grand. I will look over your script and tell you how it sucks or how you can make it better.
I mean, I sometimes have this feeling where like I have absolutely no experience and no credentials, but please hire me because I would make this thing better.
All right, I think we should start winding it down since it's almost end time.
Yeah, I don't think
That
we can.
was so quick.
I don't think we can top Muppet adaptation.
Yeah. All right.
I will have you know, by the way, that there is a cat under my table in a tube, and he's having the time of his life.
Good.
The cats are currently sleeping behind me and they're like touching paws.
Aw.
Where's little Miss Ava?
I have no idea. She has her own special rocking chair in the living room, and I think she's probably sitting in that right now. So.
Does she still sleep in the papasan?
Oh yeah, definitely. I have a double wide papasan, and it is a glorified dog bed.
Okay.
Yes, we've peaked.
The best time to peak.
All right. Do you want to tell everybody where people can find you and what you're going to be up to next? Bree, do you want to go first?
Sure. You can find me at Bree Reads Books on YouTube and the Twitter. I'm on there pretty frequently and also on Instagram. And I am trying to finally get the videos. I have many videos filmed. I have very few videos edited, and that is my big project right now. If you yell at me on Twitter to do it, I am much more likely to actually get stuff done. So I will do my best. Someone yell at me.
I think that's a good problem to have, though. You have content at the ready. You just need to like push it out.
Oh yeah. Yeah. It's a follow-through problem that I've been having for a while.
Speaking of follow-through, next week I should have you can find me at the channel, The Bookfinch. And next week I should have my reading wrap-up of November out. And also I will be talking about procrastination, project management, and follow-through in a discussion video that I have planned, because I've had a lot of problems with that. And I've been thinking about that a lot lately. So that's
cool.
gonna
When's
happen.
that one gonna be out so I can mark my calendar?
If I can make it happen, Friday, Saturday, that timeline.
Okay. Sounds good.
I look forward to it. Diana?
You can find me at Bookish Die pretty much anywhere. I didn't bring my tripod with me, so I need to figure out some way to film if I'm filming while I'm at my grandparents' house for the next month and a half. So I don't know what's going on with me.
You can put your cell phone and lean it on a pile of books.
I mean, that
works.
is definitely an option.
Trust me, like my webcam is currently precariously placed on top of 2 glass jars that used to hold salsa. So
Lord knows I brought enough books down with me to do that.
Like, use what you have. It's okay. It works.
I think that books are like a time-honored booktube tradition for a tripod. So
yeah,
yes.
Very much.
I'm using a stack of books to lift my computer up.
Also, duct tape and grill sticks and a sponge also works.
Rachel, what have you got coming up?
I'm not really sure, to be honest. So yeah, I also have some pre-filmed stuff that I need to get edited now that I finally figured out my technical difficulties, so I can edit on my proper computer again. So I should be doing some of that. But yeah, I'm taking it easy. And if you want to know what I'm up to, you have to follow me on Instagram, because I'm pretty much just posting pictures of jigsaw puzzles and things that I've dyed with natural plants.
Worth
My
it.
life right now.
The best type of content.
But yeah, I'm Kalanati everywhere, so you can find me pretty easily.
Okay.
All right. Well, I think that is it for us this month. Whose channel are we going to be on next month. Are we back to you, Bree?
I think so, yeah.
Okay.
Cool. We'll do a holiday celebration. I'll see if I can break out some obnoxious holiday lights.
I need to buy myself an ugly Christmas sweater. See if I can.
Oh yes,
I need to see if I can find a Star Wars ugly Christmas sweater.
Yes.
I can bring out my ugly Christmas sweaters. I have
Okay.
a Final Fantasy X one with Tidus saying, "Oh, ho, 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 ho."
Okay,
Great.
so join us next month on Bree's channel for an ugly Christmas sweater party.
Yay!
All right, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye, everybody. Thanks
Bye.
for joining.